Hi everybody, it is your favorite school librarian, Miss Dev, and today I'm going to be reading from Projekt 1065, which is, or 1065, a novel of World War II. It's by Gratz. A lot of you guys might have read Refugee by Gratz. This has been a very popular book in the library since I started about 3 years ago. So if you like historical fiction, especially World War II, then definitely come and pick up Projekt 1065 by Gratz. So the little tagline here says, he joined the Hitler Youth. And if you don't know what the Hitler Youth is, it's like a little army of kids that basically backed Hitler. But it says he joined the Hitler Youth, ... as a spy. So this is a spy novel as well as being part of historical fiction. All right, let's get into it. Projekt 1065. Infiltrate, befriend, sabotage. World War II is raging. Michael O'Shaughnessy, originally from Ireland, now lives in Nazi Germany with his parents. Like the other boys in his school, Michael is a member of the Hitler Youth. But Michael has a secret. He and his parents are spies. Michael despises everything the Nazis stand for, but he joins in the Hitler Youth's horrific games and book burnings, playing the part so he can gain insider knowledge. When Michael learns about Projekt 1065, a secret Nazi war mission, things get even more complicated. He must prove his loyalty to the Hitler Youth at all costs, even if it means risking everything he cares about, including his own life. From acclaimed author Alan Gratz, author of Refugee, which I just showed you guys, comes a pulse-pounding novel about facing fears and fighting for what matters most. Projekt 1065 by Alan Gratz. Dinner with the Nazis. It's hard to smile when you're having dinner with Nazis. There were Nazis all up and down the long table, talking and laughing and eating. There were Nazi soldiers in their gray German army uniforms. There were SS officers, member of Adolf Hitler's private protection squadron, in their black uniforms and red armbands. There were regular civilian Nazis who didn't fight in the military, who ran banks and factories and newspapers and wore suits and ties and Nazi pins. And then there was me, Michael O'Shaughnessy, wearing my brown long-sleeve shirt, black shorts, white knee socks, and black hiking boots polished to a shine. Just like the SS, the most fearsome killers in the land, I wore a red armband with a big black swastika in the center of it, the hooked cross symbol the Nazis plastered all over everything. I wore the uniform of the Hitler Youth, Germany's version of the Boy Scouts, because I was a Nazi too. Or at least I was pretending to be. More cake? The Nazi next to me asked, offering me another slice. Light from the chandelier glinted on the silver skull pin on his collar. Sure, thanks. That's very kind of you, I said. I remembered to smile even though it took a lot of effort. I hated pretending to like these people, hated pretending to agree with their awful hatred of Jews, hated pretending I wanted them to win the war and conquer the world. But I smiled because I had to. If they ever discovered I wasn't really one of them, my family and I would disappear into a concentration camp, never to be seen or heard from again. Your German is so good, the woman on my other side told me. She was the wife of a captain in the German army. If I didn't know your father was the Irish ambassador, I would think you grew up here in Berlin. I sagged in my chair. I heard this every time my family attended these dinners. I wasn't exactly the blonde, blue-eyed Aryan ideal, but with my flawless German accent and my brown hair that fell into a mop in my brown eyes, I could pass for an average German boy any day. I wasn't proud of it, but it was definitely useful. Michael's always got a good head for languages, my father said in German. He sat across from me at the table, my mother 2 seats down from him. We've only been here for 6 years, but he already speaks better German than I do. 1937. That was the year my father was named Irish ambassador to Germany, and we'd moved from London, where he'd been stationed to Berlin. It was 1943 now, and I was 13 years old. Things had changed so much in those years. 6 years. Berlin had been a wonderland when I first arrived. All towering columns with eagle statues and red flags from every building, and parades 10,000 people strong. Hitler was already the Chancellor of Germany, and the Nazis, his political party, were well in control. Germany wasn't at war yet, and not everybody was a Nazi back then, but it was hard to argue with their success. Everywhere I looked, I'd see faces full of smiles and laughter. But then overnight, the party ended. But not the Nazi party. They had only gotten stronger. The other party, the feeling of unbounded German cheerfulness, was completely gone. I had finally seen the horror behind the smiles, and so had the rest of the world. What happened that one night still haunted me. Michael's always had an exceptional memory, haven't you, son? Ma said, breaking into my thoughts. It's true, my father says. Michael reads in German, tells jokes in German. I think he even dreams in German. The adults around us at the table gave him a polite chuckle. Da, the diplomat, doing what he did best. His mustache widened as he beamed at me, but the eyes that peered over at me at the glasses weren't smiling. They were reminding me to smile, to be friendly, to play my part. I picked up my glass of grape juice and took a drink to hide my frown. You are a better German than some other Germans, the Nazi who had offered me cake said. His name was Trumbauer. His rank within the SS was Obersturmführer, which meant senior assault leader. Ooh. He was tall. He was a tall, thin man with slicked back, jet black hair and a nose like a parrot's beak. Just today, we raided the home of a German couple that was hiding a Jew in their attic, right here in Berlin. He shook his head as if he couldn't believe the stupidity of some people. How did you know they were hiding a Jew? The woman next to me asked. SS Obersturmführer Trumbauer cut out a piece of cake with his fork and lifted it. Their son reported them. I shuddered. Their own son ratting them out to the secret police? I could never, ever imagine doing something like that to my own parents. So what happened to them, I asked. SS Obersturmführer Trumbauer said, swallowing his cake. Oh, the Germans were taken into protective custody at our best concentration camp, Dachau, of course. The Jew was shot while trying to escape. The SS Obersturmführer's words rattled me, and I knocked over my glass trying to set it back down. It struck the rim of my plate and shattered, sending glass and grape juice everywhere. I caught my reflection in one of the tiny shards, half a dozen little Michael O'Shaughnessy's looking up at me in horror. Suddenly, I was back on that Berlin street that night 4 years ago when everything had changed. When I'd finally learned what monsters the Nazis really were. All right, folks, you guys know school is almost out. We only have like 2 weeks left. So you have a chance to check out like one more book. And let it be Projekt 1065 by Gratz. Hope to see everybody very soon. Bye-bye.